Very good afternoon. Today, my topic will be advanced microprocessor. Okay, and what is the IC number? The IC number is 80286. Okay, so why it is 80286? What is the history behind that? All points I am going to cover. But before that, I must say that please go through your syllabus, and there you must see that two part of advanced microprocessors are there. One is 286 and one is 486, but in between that there is also 386, but 386 is not in your syllabus because you are studying the past one and the present one, right? So please go through the syllabus first, and after that you will come to know the Pentium microprocessor. Okay, so before that I will discuss about some prerequisitions that have already covered with you, and I have already clarified many times by asking in your WhatsApp group. That is, if you have any doubt in 8086, please let me know, because this today's advanced microprocessor is based on 8086. Okay, and there is a very similarities in between them and some difference in between them, but what are they, that I will cover in my lecture. Okay, so if you want to know this one in very detail, you must go through 8086 very well, right? Because there is a similarity in the flag register, there is a similarity in the architecture, there is a similarity in the instructions, there is a similarity in the addressing modes and the features and everything, right? So if you know very well 8086, then 80286 will be a nothing one to you, right? Okay, so before going to that, I must say that you have studied microprocessor, right? And here is also the term is microprocessor, but the word is added before that, that is advanced, right? So we will study microprocessor, but in an advanced way, in an advanced level, nothing else, right? Okay, so what do you mean by microprocessor? Microprocessor is nothing but, what is this? I think is a very the day one, the first day I discussed in your class, because in that time the situation was normal, and I think the definition is very known to you. That is, a microprocessor is nothing but a programmable device that can take the inputs, can take the data, but in terms of binary, that is 0 and 1, process the data and produces the output, right? And but for processing the data, for processing the input, it uses some instructions to process the data according to the user instructions, right? Because for this purpose it had a specific instruction set, a specific programming flow, and by using that the microprocessor can do many things, right? But today I will discuss the advanced microprocessor, and that is nothing but 80286, right? So I first write down the one point, that is, if you study 8086 very well, then 80286 can be defined nothing but the advanced version of 8086. Okay, so how can you define 80286? Simply, 80286 can be defined as the advanced version of 8086, nothing else, right? Okay, so coming to my next point, that is, it belongs to into 86 family, right? Why it is so? Because here 80 is added, right? And this cross part is changed from cross to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, and 3 to 4, and so on, right? Sequence of continuous versions are there, and this middle cross portion is converted to the 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, and so on. But why it is so? Why there is a change, and what is the change, right? So we can say that this X means the extended form of you can write that this is nothing but the extended form of 8086. Extended form of 8086. So to denote this, the extended form of 8086, because previously I have already told that this is the advanced version, this is the extended version of 8086. So you can say that this cross portion is nothing but the extended form of 8086, right? So what the later part of that, this will become 80. Thus see that this middle portion will be changed, nothing else. So this portion will be changed to 80186, then 80286, then 80386, then 80486, and so on. In your syllabus, there are 80286 and 80486. Okay, so nothing but the extension of 8086. Clear? Why it is so? Because this belongs to cross 86 family. Okay, so with the advancement, there will be some modifications, there will be some changes that is not covered in the previous one, and that is a challenge, right? So how it will be overcome, that was the drawback of the previous one, and this will be overcome in the present one, right? Okay, so this is the very basic, that why it is called 80286, right? So totally is based on your 8086. So the first point is clear. And one more thing, that whenever we will go detail of 80286, there will be very much similarities between the 8086 and 80286, 486, and so on, because this is the grassroots level is 8086, right? Okay. So my next part will be, what are the similarities and what are the difference between 8086 and 80286, right? So here I am writing off, this is your 8086 and this is your 80286. Just go to the points that I am going to discuss. What are the similarities and what are the difficulties? What are the difference? Sorry, what are the difference? Okay. So if you have studied the 8086 very well, you must know that this is a 16-bit microprocessor, right? So I am writing the first point, that this is a 16-bit microprocessor. Okay, and this is also a 16-bit microprocessor. Right? Why I am writing this microprocessor? Because this is a processor, right? And why it is micro? Because this is available in a chip, in an integrated circuit. So we can say that this is also a microprocessor, but in advanced level, right? But here is my question is that why it is called 16-bit microprocessor? Because the ALU, that is the main part of any processor, that is the arithmetic and logical unit, is of size 16-bit. So I must write down the point that ALU is of size 16-bit, and here it's also true. So this will help you to make very easier to know 80286 if 8086 is well known to you, right? Okay. So my next question is, what is the size of data bus? What is the size of data bus? I think the answer is ready to you. The data bus is of the size of 16-bit. That means D0 to D15, right? And here it's also true that the data bus, I am writing in a short form, that is DB, is also 16-bit. I am just highlighting the points. Every points are well known to you because the 8086 is already shared with you, and I am just highlighting the key points that is similar in between 8086 and 80286. Okay, so data bus also the size of 16-bit, right? So coming to my third point, that is, what is the size of address bus? I think you know the answer. What's about your 8086? The address bus is, yes, this is 20 bits and it can be written right A0 to A19. Clear? And here is a slight change because the address bus is size of 24 bits. That means A0 to A23. right? Okay, so we have already come to know the address bus, the data bus, and everything, right? And one more thing that one more question that I have written the first point, that is 16-bit microprocessor, right? And you can say that the ALU is the size of 16-bit, but beside that, one more important point is that in one machine cycle, the 16-bit instructions can be executed. So this is the another point. So I am writing this point. This is also known as 16-bit. Why it is called 16-bit? Because in one machine cycle, you know the machine cycle, you know the timing diagram, right? You know the T states and everything. So from that concept, we can say that in one machine cycle, the 16-bit instruction can be executed, right? Okay, so I think this will clear you more, okay, why it is called 16-bit microprocessor, right? And I am telling about this address bus, this data bus, this control bus, everything, right? And from the very beginning day, I discussed that there are different types of buses. So then buses is nothing but the group of communication lines that is going to connect the interior blocks of any circuit, right? So what is the address bus? What will be the particular definition of the address bus? Address bus is nothing but that carries the address from where the instruction is going to execute it, right? And what is the data bus? Data bus is nothing but is used for carrying the data, right? And what is the function of control bus? Control bus control both address bus and data bus by transferring the various control signal. I think everyone will be agreed with me that what is the objective of address bus, data bus, and control bus. Because why I am why I am going to focus on this bus, because in 8086 there is a bus interface unit and execution unit, right? So bus is there, and because and depending on the bus, all the operations are executed, right? And here it will be true also for 80286. Okay, now my fourth point is that what is the available memory? Because we are discussing about your physical memory, how much memory we can access or how much memory the data can be addressed, right? So in 8086, what is the amount of memory? This is nothing but address bus. It is dependent on the address bus, so nothing but 2 to the power 20, right? And if we calculate, this becomes 1 MB. Right, so this much amount of physical memory can be addressed by the data. So the data, we can store the data in the ultimate memory is 1 MB, up to 1 MB, right? And what about your 80286? What about your 80286? For 80286, it will be obviously the data bus address bus size is 24 bits, so it will be 2 to the power 24, and if you calculate it, it becomes 16 MB. This becomes 16 MB. So this is the this amount of physical memory the data can be addressed, right? So here it is 1 MB, here it is 16 MB, and there is an advancement, because we are going the upper level of 8086, because the memory capacity is high, its multitasking capability is there, and speed is high, everything the various parameters are going to change from 8086 to 80286, and most important among them are the memory size and the multitasking capability that has in 80286 but not in 8086, right? Okay. And the fifth point is that what is the amount of not the amount, but is the number of pins? It's obviously a 40 pin, right? But here it is I think it's 68 pins. Pin diagram is not necessary for your syllabus. In your syllabus, it's a very less amount of 80286 is there. But if you want to know in very detail, then I can explain it that in my next lecture. But now the too much details is not necessary for 8026, but although the details is not necessary, but I am going to depth to get you understand the basics of 80286. Okay, so here the pin number is 40 and here the pin number is 68. Obviously there will be an increasing part because some more extra features are going to be added, some more extra control signals are going to be added, and for that purpose the number of pins must be increased, right? Okay, and the last important and most important point that is the mode of operation, right? And in your 8086 you have already seen that there is two mode. One is your min mode, one is your max mode, and for that purpose there is a control signal also, that is min oblique max, right? And min mode and max mode. Min mode means whenever the one processor is functioning, and max mode means more than one processor is going to function, right? And for 80286 it's a very important point, that is there is also a two modes, but they are defined as real mode and virtual protected mode. Okay, two modes are there. One is your real mode and another one is your virtual protected mode. Why I am focusing this point? Because in my previous lecture I have shared with you the PDF of virtual memory and cache memory, and that in that section I have described in very details that what is the function of cache memory, what is the function of virtual memory, and why it is called virtual memory, where it is used, where it is the functionality, everything, right? And from that concept, from that perspective view, you can also discuss this thing in your virtual protected mode. Okay. So in this context, I am going to discuss in very detail that the concept of virtual memory. Okay. So suppose you have a RAM of 1 GB, right? You have a RAM of 1 GB and the instruction that which wants to load in this RAM, but the size is more than 1 GB. Got my point? If you have a RAM of 1 GB, but the instructions that are going to be loaded in the RAM, the size of greater than 1 GB, then some parts of the hard disk can be connected to the RAM, so that this part of the hard disk that is acting as a main memory, and that part is known as your virtual memory. Okay, so if you have if you have not as much amount of size that will be used for loading the instruction, you can use your hard disk that can be connected to the RAM and can act as a main memory and can support your instructions to be loaded in your RAM, but this part of memory is known as your virtual memory, and it can act as a protected manner in the failure mode. Right, so these will be acting as a protected manner in your failure mode. So this is the concept of your virtual memory. I have already shared in my PDF, so please go through the PDF. I think it will clear your conception, right? Okay. Now, some features of 80286. I am not going to very much detail, but I am going to cover the key points of 80286, and among them the first point will be the features of 80286. Okay, and there is a very much similarity in between your 8086 and 80286, because if we go through the features of 80286, you will see that there is a segment portion that was already there in your 8086. Okay, and in 80286 there are 4 separate processing unit, And with these 4 separate processing units, the architecture will be very clear to you what is the function and what is the actual objective, right? So 4 separate processing unit is there, but in your 8086 there was 2 separate processing unit. One was bus interface unit and another was execution unit, right? But including these 2, there will be added 2 more units in 80286. So what are they? The first one is your bus unit. I am writing in a short form. Second one is your instruction unit, that is IU. And the third one is your address unit. And the fourth one is execution unit. Clear? Instruction and address and execution unit. Okay, so this is the main feature of 80286. Okay, so for you, one question, just think and answer that I am writing the question of here, how much, because I have already provided the concept of virtual memory today and also in my previous lecture, and from that concept you must answer that how much virtual memory can be addressed by 80286 microprocessing unit or MUP. Okay, so what will be the answer? Yes, the answer is 1 GB, and that concept will be used in your architecture part also. Okay, because in the previous point where I have told the 2 modes are there, the real mode and the virtual protective mode, I must say one point that real mode means, I have not explained these two, extremely sorry for that. The real mode means 80286 is same as 8086 but at very firstest mode, right? Because it has the multitasking capability. So in real mode is nothing but all the same with 8086 but is very much faster. Okay, so in this mode 1 MB that we have already calculated the memory capability, the physical address, the physical memory capability, the 1 MB physical memory can be accessed. Okay, so this is the real mode. But we will work in virtual protected mode. And why it is so? Because in virtual protected mode, from 16 MB, because we have already calculated the memory capacity that of 80286, and this is 16 MB, so 16 MB to 1 GB. 16 MB to 1 GB can be accessed in virtual protected mode. So for this, the answer will be up to 1 GB it can be accessed, right? Okay, so I think everything is clear. Now I am just shortly explain now I am going to explain the architectural view of 80286 in a very short way. Okay, so this is your architectural total details. I think it's visible. I will also share the PDF of it. So this is the internal architecture of your 80286. Okay. Okay. So first, point number 1. Please concentrate that the total architecture I have divided into 4 processing units that I have already explained in the feature of 80286. And what are they? The first unit is address unit, just left upper part, the address unit. In the bottom part, execution unit, and in the right hand side there is bus unit and instruction unit. So the total architecture is defined in the 4 way, that is address unit, execution unit, and your bus unit, and also the instruction unit. Okay, And I must say that all 4 units can work parallelly, right? All 4 units can work parallelly, right? Okay, so I will discuss in a very shortly, because in your semester it's newly included, and it may come in an architecture part, or the feature or the difference between 8086 and 80286, or nothing else about that. So you can explain this architecture in a very short way, and that I have already done in my in note, in my PDF note. Okay, so please note that the CPU means central processing unit, right? CPU, what is the function of CPU? CPU is nothing but fetches the instruction and execute, right? Because this is a central processing unit, and this processing unit will be replaced by your 80286. So this is the all main part, the fetches the instruction and execute that, nothing else. Okay, so first concentrate on my address unit. And address unit is nothing but the computes the physical address of the instruction and data that the central processing unit wants access to. Clear? And these these access unit is basically concentrated on your real mode and protective mode, because in this real mode and protective mode I have already discussed the concept of your virtual memory and physical memory and how it can be accessed, and this total portion is covered in your address unit, right? So I am again saying that this address unit computes the physical address of the instruction and data that the central processing unit wants access to, and it can work in real mode and protective mode, right? Okay, so coming to the next part, that is bus unit. Bus unit is nothing but, I must say, this is a similar part of your bus interface unit of 8086. And also here it is execution unit. Execution unit is same as of your 8086, right? Okay, so please concentrate on your bus unit, and the bus unit, please see that there is some blocks, bus control logic, this transceiver, this prefetch unit, processor extension interface, all will be there, and it acts as an interface to the outside world. This is transceiver. The transceiver, from this transceiver, this data can be accessed. So this unit can be interfaced to the outside by using this block, this transceiver block. Okay, and it controls the transfer of data, and it consists of various control signals that is prefetched, because here is a prefetched unit. So the instruction that are going to be executed, the data that are going to be processed, that all are stored in this block, and after that it is going to the instruction unit, and then it is coming to the execution unit. But for controlling all the sections, it has some control signals over there. There is acknowledgement signal, there is a request signal, there is a ready signal, there is a hold signal. So all are the same functions as of your microprocessor, right? And there is also the another signal, that is BHE bar or M or IO. This BHE means bus high enable and memory or input output. So all are similar to your 8085 or 8086. Basically, this has a similarity with your 8086. Clear? Okay, now it's instruction unit. So instruction unit is nothing but where the instructions are stored. The instructions are stored in a queue. This was also in your 8086, and it is decoded by the decoder, and after that it is given to the execution unit. This is a simple part. Instruction unit means store the instruction, decoded by the decoder, and it is given to your execution unit. So this is the last part for execution section. Okay, so execution unit, basically it is same as of your execution unit of 8086 that I have already told previously, and it executes the instruction with the help of your 16-bit register, because there are general purpose register. Why it is register? Because register is nothing but for storing the data, for processing the data, right? Okay, and mainly there are 3 blocks over there. One is your ALU, one is your control unit, and one is your general purpose register. So depending on the instruction that is coming from the instruction unit, the output is stored in a general purpose register and then it is given to the output section. Right, so these are the all very basics and all about your 80286. So please go through this lecture. Please try to understand that what I have explained and what are the difference between 8086 and 80286, and where is the advancement, where is the similarity, where is the difference, and everything that I have already discussed with you. Right, so please go through this, and based on that you have an assignment that you must get me know the very basics of 80486, that is the more advancement of 80286. So this will be your task in my next lecture, that you will teach me the very basic of 80486. But before that, please go through this architecture, please go through the details with my PDF and upgrade yourself. So till then, thank you.